These are some of my favorite fighting games that I always put in, and I will probably be a fan of for the rest of my life, unless something crazy comes along. But these were awesome games that I grew up with, also games to this day that I think hold up pretty damn well. So stick with me as we check out some fighting games. Whew. Alright guys, if we are going to start with fighting games, we are going to start with the granddaddy of them all, and that would be Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2. When you want to talk about pure fighting competition, balanced gameplay, really fun characters, Street Fighter 2 would be where you want to start. There has been so many iterations and sequels and prequels and movies to the Street Fighter series. My God. My favorite fighting game character of all time is Ken. Ken Masters. He's cocky because he does dragon punches, because he also does a Hadouken and a red gi. He has a red gi.
I have red clothes.
You wear a red gi.
I wear a red gi.
That's the top of the list of what makes you different from Ryu, is that you're red.
Yeah, and when I kick someone, it'll look red.
Check out Street Fighter. If you're looking for a good fighting game, or if you wanted to jump into the fighting game series, that's the one you start with. Guys, it only makes sense for me to piggyback on Street Fighter by going with my favorite Street Fighter game of all time, and that was Street Fighter Alpha 2. This series, like I said, went through sequels and prequels, and this was a prequel series. Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3, which is all before the events of Street Fighter 2. And there was some introduction to a lot of cool characters. They changed the combat system and some of the abilities of the characters too. And I felt like this was one of the smoothest games that they made for Street Fighter. I love the art style in it. I love the pacing, and I enjoy the additional characters in it too. So, Street Fighter Alpha 2. This one's getting up there a tad. I think you can get it for about $35 or $40 if you're looking for physical. If not, there's tons of anthologies and special editions. The 30th anniversary edition of Street Fighter that came out a couple years ago. Awesome. Every single iteration of Street Fighter, and you can play it on the Switch. So, Street Fighter, if you're looking for something fun, give that a go. Yes. Next fighting game that I love. Did I mention that Capcom was king?
Hail to the king, baby.
When it came to fighting games, especially in the mid-90s to late 90s, there was some of the coolest fighting games to come out at that time. And it didn't end with Street Fighter as they continued their development. The next one that just kind of captured me from the get-go was Marvel Superheroes. And this game, oh my God, did I put a lot of time into this game. Released for the PlayStation and I believe Sega Saturn, if I'm not mistaken. But the Marvel Superheroes games and all of its sequels after that, where they did crossovers with X-Men and Street Fighter and other Capcom characters and Marvel characters. Man, it really SNK characters. So it just went wild after those crossover series started, and it ended up being a fantastic game. So if you're a fan of Marvel and you want to jump into the fighting game series, I think this is a good one to get to. I want to say this goes for around $40 or $50 now. Again, a lot of these they are becoming quite collectible. But again, there's a couple different ways, obviously, you can play that if you want to be legal. Marvel Superheroes. Check it out if you can, if you get an opportunity. Or just play it sometime. Try to get somewhere and play it. Do it. You'll love it. You like it. I like it. I like it. So, pulling this guy off the shelf, I realized people do not give this series the credit it deserves. One of the coolest mechanics in all of fighting games is to be able to turn into a beastly animal at will, and that would be Bloody Roar. Bloody Roar 1, 2, and 3, and then this was 3. You get to turn into a tiger.
Sorry, Roger, you're tiger now.
Sorry?
You get to turn into a bat. So the main character, Hugo, he turns into this gray wolf. And man, you just like, if you feel like you're getting your butt kicked by your opponent, when you're able to turn into a beast and be able to kind of fight back, that was one of the coolest experiences of Bloody Roar. This originally came out on PlayStation, I think only PlayStation. It was a PlayStation exclusive. Bloody Roar 1, Bloody Roar 2, and you were able to throw down. The very first one, you could be like a gorilla and a chameleon, if I'm not mistaken. Down the line, they turned into like beetles and weird cybernetic organisms, but nonetheless, the gameplay remained the same to be able to transform into a beast at will. And I talked about Alice in my bunnies video, my badass bunnies video. I talked about Alice Nakamura, and she was able to turn into a rabbit. Man, really cool game. In fact, I'm gonna play this later because I forgot how much I love it. Bloody Roar 1, 2, 3 on PS2, and then the Bloody Roar Primal Fury on the GameCube. Check it out. Let me know if you think this is fun, because I really love this game. I do. All right, we're gonna talk about a departure from standard fighting games. Normally one-on-one, and it was done, right? You either won or you lost. It was your character against the other opponent's character. And then Nintendo decided to come and screw everything up in the best way possible. This would be Super Smash Brothers. So Super Smash Brothers came out on the Nintendo 64. It then got a sequel on the GameCube, another one on the Wii and Wii U. And then last but not least would be this Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Super Smash Brothers is literally one of the coolest party fighting games that you'll ever play. So we're talking about your ability to fight multiple people at the same time. So a standard technique where you would kind of have your back against the wall in the way that the level design was. This is very open. It requires a lot of jumping, a lot of projectiles. This is something that was not common in those standard fighting games. This, man, I ran the table in college, which I think I talked about in another video, and I played as Ness on the N64 version, and I remember us just having an awesome time with that. Since then, every single edition of the series has been pretty fun. Competitive players will tell you that Smash Brothers Melee would be the kind of cream of the crop, but now that Super Smash Brothers Ultimate came out, I think arguably this one might be the better game. I don't play competitively, but I'm assuming that when it comes to recovery time and it comes to a lot of the mechanics that make Smash Brothers a great game and the speed of the series, Smash Brothers Ultimate got it right. So if you love the traditional Nintendo characters, classic Nintendo characters, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Mario, Kirby, Princess Peach, you get to play as all of them, literally as many characters that they've ever put into a Smash Brothers game is in this game. So if you own a Switch and you haven't tried out Smash Brothers, even if you're not a fighting game fan, it kind of disguises itself almost as a contained platformer, if that makes sense. And I think you can kind of hold your own sometimes based on how the rest of your crew has experience with the game. But worth it, even just for the single player mode, which allows you to just have some fun battles, and you can decrease the difficulty if things are a little too hard for you. But Super Smash Brothers, in general, awesome. Ultimate, very cool game. So add that to your fighting game list if that's something that you would like to do. That's it. That's all I got. What are you still doing here? Go home. Get out of here. The video's over.